Okay, everybody, it is me again, and we. What do we have to do, people? We have to talk. We always have to talk, you and me. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. What is today? It's Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. People, let me see. How many of you, with a show of hands, would be surprised, shocked, or whatever, to find out that despite, again, the continuing round after round after freaking round of bad economic news, what did we find out today earlier? Trade deficit skyrockets, another 17.5% to a new record. Okay. Well, the market doesn't really care about that. The market and American citizens, we're going to talk more about that, are addicted to debt. Well, right now, today, my lovely people, my lovely friends, my lions, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at a new all-time record high. So did the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the laggard here, a slight loss. But people, look, what have I been telling you? What has Greg Mannarino been telling you for, freak show years? Market's going higher, market's going higher, market's going higher. And I'm telling you here again, guess what? Market's going higher, despite the fact that we continue, even today, to get more, bears coming out of the woodwork about this market. I think they're all retards. I'm sorry to use that word again. Actually, no, I'm not. I really think they're trying to mislead people on a grand scale. The more bearish people want to tell me they are on this market, and I'm talking about those people who kind of have a functioning brain, which is very, very few, the more bullish I will become, okay? I'm just paying attention, people, just like you are, to the drivers of the market, and we're going to talk more about that too. So anyway, let's just stay with the market a little bit, because I have a bunch of stuff that I do want to cover with you. Okay, so yes, new record highs for the Dow, new record high for the S&P today. NASDAQ laggard, 10-year yield higher, 1.55. Cash is leaving the debt market. Where's it going to go? Is it going to go to money heaven? Is that what you think is going to happen? No, it's not going to go to money heaven. My nose is itchy. Sorry. It's going to wait. It's going to make its way into the stock market, in my view. What else is going on? Dollar today, the relative strength of the dollar did weaken. People, look, let's focus on the dollar here for a moment. There seems to be some kind of very, very misguided people here who, for some reason, I don't understand, they remain dollar bulls. I guess they are Federal Reserve bulls. I don't know what these people are, but even in the face of inflation that is surging at its fastest pace in history, they remain dollar bulls. Do they not see? Again, the mainstream media is trying to convince people that what they are seeing is not real, so maybe these people fall into that camp. Do they not see the purchasing power of the dollar evaporating? Okay? Again, you got to be brain dead, but there are these people that remain dollar bulls. Look, I've explained this a million times, and I guess I have to cover it again. If you are looking at the Dixie, DXY, the dollar index, we're looking at relative strength, not absolute, okay? Relative strength of the dollar, relative in relation to other currencies. You understand? And I told all of you that I expected from months ago, a long time ago, that, well, it should be obvious that the relative strength of the dollar will stay high relative to other currencies, but the dollar is a dying asset by design. It lost almost all of its purchasing power. We've lost about 97 or 98% of its purchasing power since the whole fiat monetary system began. We do not have a wealth-based system. We have a debt-based system, people. And it's just completely out of control. And again, despite, debts and deficits skyrocketing, well, the market loves it. American citizens continue to bury themselves in debt. It just doesn't stop, and they do it gleefully, and then until the bill comes, and we know what's happening with regard to that. Credit card defaults are skyrocketing as well. You can make it up. Make this stuff up. Let us move forward here. Cryptocurrencies today under some pressure. Bitcoin 47,000. Okay. You got gold and silver today under some pressure. Did you hear about JP Morgan? Hold that thought. We'll talk more about JP Morgan in just a little bit. We got crude oil today at one point crossing $77 a barrel. It did pull back a little bit. Do you realize that the energy sector this year had its best year ever? And if you recall, if you follow this lovely blog, I explained to you quite strongly several days back, and I did send this out in my free newsletter, link in the description of this video, that you should be looking to get it on the XLE, the Energy Sector Exchange Traded Fund. The trend for energy is higher. It's much, much higher here as the dollar evaporates with regard to purchasing power. Dollar bulls. I bet you wish you got into crypto when I said, huh? Well, anyway, like I always say, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. Lovely people, let us move forward. Got lots of stuff to talk to you about today. So, people, let's move on to this here. We are finding out something I described would happen a very long time ago. I touched on this several times. I explained to you that we're watching an entire class of people essentially die. Okay. And they're being moved deliberately to the lower rung. We are in the middle of the creation of a new feudal system, and it is in full swing. So we're finding out here that homelessness here in the United States is rising at its fastest pace ever. Now, with a show of hands, do you feel like that's by accident? Put your freaking hand down. No, it's absolutely by design. The middle class are being inflated away, okay? The middle class people who have relied on interest earning accounts have been robbed blind of trillions of dollars in realized wealth since the meltdown of 2008. Suppressed rates have literally been like a thief in the night to anyone with an interest earning account and this is the middle class for the most part, being decimated by design since the '08 meltdown here, under attack. And we're in the final phase here of it, and it's the central banks, the Fed, who's driving this whole thing. So we find out again, no surprise, homelessness skyrocketing, a phenomenon which we knew was going to happen. It's going to get much, much worse. And again, we have people who used to be in the middle class trying to maintain that status by borrowing. By borrowing, all they're doing is assuring they're going down to the lower rung and maybe out into the street and being homeless. You understand? All by design, people. All by design. So in a booming economy, you would expect homelessness to be skyrocketing at its fastest pace ever, wouldn't you? How about this one? Some more bad economic news that the market just loves. So pending home sales fall. Okay, that was the report, as prices continue to rise. This is epic, what I'm about to tell you. I actually talked about this a couple days back, but I want to give you a little insight into this on a year-over-year basis. Construction material costs gained 34.7%. Their prices have risen 34.7% year over year. That is incredible. But what else would you expect in an environment where the dollar is evaporating? Going back to dollar bulls out here. Dollar bulls. Wow. I don't want to call you retards, but I think the title might fit. Anyway, look, I want to show you something real quick. I made another lovely chart for you. And the reason why I decided to redo this chart, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve balance sheet over the last 3 months, is if you were paying attention today, CNBC, Bloomberg, They keep talking about this taper, the taper, the taper. The Fed's already tapering. The Fed's going to taper more. You see, they won't show you this, but I'm going to show it to you again. This is 3 months of the Fed's balance sheet. You see here where Greg Mannarino circled right there? That was the first taper announcement. What do you notice has happened? What do you notice? Oh, yeah, there was no taper, but you're not allowed to see this. Even though, stuff like this is hidden in plain sight. Go to the Federal Reserve's own website and you can have your own lovely chart too, but you're not allowed to see that. No one's going to show that to you, especially on CNBC, because they're all puppets. They're talking heads. They read a script. They're worst. They're the worst. What else can I tell you? They're paid to lie, and that's what they're doing to you people. As I told you earlier today, people, look, with regard to debts and deficits skyrocketing, something I told you, I don't know, for the last 10 years, what happened, American citizens are also addicted to debt, and they continue to borrow beyond their eyeballs, and they won't learn. What do they expect? What do people who continue to borrow expect to gain out of it? Other than maybe, a seat on the ship into slavery. It's a one-way ticket into debt slavery. Is that what you want? Really? Honestly? It's incredible. Here's another piece of news. Credit card purchases continue to rise. This is from today, with defaults also on the rise. So we have these same people out here borrowing. Oh yeah, look, I'm going to melt this plastic. And then, they go, oh, how am I going to pay the bill? And they can't. It's out of control. I don't know what else to tell you, people. I don't know what else to tell you anymore. Look, I'm going to put down my lovely book here. You know what stuff is in here? Look at this. It's incredible. I should put this up for auction and donate it to charity. I got notes in here that you wouldn't. I got things in here that no one should see. Anyway, people, look. Everything that's going on here, everything we're seeing right now, you knew was coming from a long time ago, and I'm very proud of that. I'm also very proud to hear from more and more of you who are, frankly, taking action, doing things to get yourself on the right side of this whole thing. Because again, look, I'm going to tell you a big secret, which I tell you every day pretty much, that nothing is what it seems to be. Nothing at all. All right, this is a new thing, a new set of rules, that new paradigm, a whole new demographic that I warned would come from a very long time ago. And it's accelerating. It's happening faster. Homelessness exploding. That's not going to stop. Inflation is going to continue to surge. No taper. I just showed you the chart. I don't know what other proof people need to understand that things are very dire. But in this kind of environment, there's also abounding opportunity, all right? And we're just going to take advantage of that. Speaking of opportunity, look, precious metals, we understand it's the most rigged aspect of this market, really is. JP Morgan is going to be paying another fine of 60 million to make commodities investors whole with regard to precious metal spoofing. Make that up. $60 million. How many times has JP Morgan, it doesn't stop. Over and over and over. Just Google it. How many times has JP Morgan been caught red-handed rigging the metals markets, spoofing metals markets, and all they do is pay a fine? It won't stop until someone ends up in handcuffs, which will never happen. Could you seriously envision, let's say, the CEO or any member of management of a Wall Street superbank getting carried out in handcuffs? What happened? Can you see they're part of the real government too, because they run the Fed. Yes, JP Morgan is one of the banks that run the Fed. They can do anything they want to. Anything, or they commit murder in broad daylight. Nothing will happen, okay? So I want you to think about these things. If they have to be so desperate to keep precious metals price suppressed, what does that mean? You should take advantage of it, right? Yeah, because at one point it's going to become real, very real. And look, you don't have to guess when that's going to be. People always ask me, hey, Greg, when are metals going to take off? When are commodities going to take off here? When's the stock market going to implode? It all depends on the debt market, which is the driver. Okay, everything else derives value from it. When we get that implosion in the debt market, which we will, what do I tell you all the time? You're going to get a meltdown in the debt market. Rates are going to spike in an uncontrolled fashion. You're going to see cash bleed out of the debt market, bleed out of the stock market. It's just going to go right into commodities. And no amount of rigging is going to be able to stop the price of precious metals and commodities from skyrocketing, because the dollar will evaporate even faster. Again, what's going to happen in a scenario like that? Well, you can only imagine. The dollar value, fiat currency value around the world is going to literally disappear in a matter of hours, because again, everyone's going to run to the door at the same time, trying to get out of the debt market, trying to get out of the stock market. And it's going to be insane at that point. I'm looking very forward to that. All it is a wealth transfer from one group of people or one reality into another reality. And if you're hedged, like I've been explaining to you since time immemorial, being in risk-on assets, equities, the stock market, trading the market you have, selling puts onto the market, setting up credit spreads, and you're also in risk-off assets, which include precious metals, which include crude oil, if you ask me as well. It also includes cryptocurrencies as well, in my view. You're allowed to have your own opinion, but if it's contrary to mine, it's probably wrong. Anyway, people, look, I love all of you a lot. I really do. And I hope you get something out of my videos that I do twice a day. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? I've been with you, some of you, for a very, very long time. Anyway, I'm out of here. I will see you in the morning. Ponder these things. And again, Greg Mannarino wants to hear from you, and he will read the comments. See you tomorrow.